My name is Chip Irwin, Aero Marine. We're based in Florida and in Dayton, Ohio, where we bring in the Czech-made Merlin. It's a personal sport aircraft style. It's experimental. The build time is generally under 2 weeks. It can be as short as 3 or 4 days. It comes as a quick build kit. It's already been inspected and approved by the FAA, and it's a real hoot to fly. It's a 120 mile an hour cruise. It can be a 3-second takeoff. It is a single seat, but the extra seat would cost more than $100,000 more, and it's usually a place where the pilot would put his phone. So you can have a lot more fun with this aircraft, and the cost is under $50,000 for a nice airplane with paint, with engine, propeller, finished with a glass panel. This airplane flies really great in the 60 horsepower range, and even with only 60 horsepower, it can take off in just 3 to 4 seconds and cruise up to 120 miles an hour. And the available engines in the past was the 4-stroke HKS and the 2-stroke 582, but both of those have either gone out of production or going out of production, so they're available in very limited supply. So we've developed our own engine based on a Can-Am V-twin 60 horsepower, and they have that engine built to our specifications in China, and then we have our own belted reduction drive that we get from India, and then we have a custom-made propeller for that torque curve of the engine and the speeds of the Merlin aircraft, and we have that propeller made in Slovakia, and we put all that onto the Czech-made aircraft. There are very few engines available, so if they wanted to do a different engine, they would have to build their own engine mount and a cowl or try and fit it into ours. But we'll have 3 different cowls available because we have molds for 582, HKS, and now the new V-twin. So chances are they could fit it in the cowl, but I'm not sure what they would use. The power to weight ratio and the size and fit that we offer, and the price point is very low. The engine with the reduction drive is only $7,500, and the engine is used more commonly in the ATVs and UTVs, those 4-wheeled off-terrain vehicles, and snowmobiles and jet skis. So it's built by the tens of thousands. It's distributed worldwide. There's service centers in every state, but there's very little you need to do besides change the oil. And it's just bulletproof because it's just redneck tested. It just beat the crap out in the fields. And you ever see an ATV, it's not covered in mud. So we expected an easy application where it's just running smoothly and flying around that it should last more than 1,000 hours. And we don't really consider it an overhaul because you could buy a new engine for nearly the same price. So why not just get a new engine? 1,000 hours is an awful lot of flight time. This aircraft is, in rough numbers, is 400 pounds empty, depending on the engine and avionics, and a little over 700 pounds gross. So it carries 300 pounds, which is a pilot, full fuel, and baggage. And I've flown in some Air Force research projects where I've flown with full fuel and well over 100 pounds in the baggage. That's over the gross, and I've flown it up to 12,000 feet and stayed up there for hours. This airplane has been in production for several years, and when we get orders for 4, we have each one custom made for the customer and fill a kind of 40-foot container with 4. Then we ship almost every month, and the next one arrives in 2 weeks. The next container shipping in September, end of September, still has 1 spot open, which we'll sell shortly. It's not necessarily have a full license on this, and you don't need a medical, but you do need at least a sport pilot license to fly this in experimental. The reason is it does fit into the light sport aircraft box, the rules for the speeds and the weights and horsepower. But it's a little bit better than most light sports because it's a little bit higher wing loading, so you can fly in the middle of the day more comfortably. And it has a little bit more power for the weight, which means the performance all around is better, and the cruise speeds are higher, takeoff is quicker. So basically it's more fun. Well, first let's give a briefing on Part 103, and that came out in the early 1980s to cover ultralights, which are not even considered aircraft by the FAA. So as long as you meet the rule definition of the Part 103 ultralight and stay off their radar, uncontrolled airspace, not over cities, not near any major airport, you have some unbelievable restrictions that are hardly unknown in most other parts of the world unless they copied the Part 103. And that means you can fly with one person with a low stall speed and a low top speed and 5 gallons of fuel, and there's not much more to it than that. And you don't need a license, or medical, and the airplane doesn't need certification or registration. You just fly safe. The 1980s ultralight, for the most part, hasn't changed a great deal. It's generally to keep under that strict weight limit. They're tube and fabric with a two-stroke engine and kind of a lawn chair seating, and you're out in the open. And that's a nice experience. And one of the ultralights I sold that was similar to that had an even bigger wing, and that would stay up and float. It was called the Zigolo. And I sold a few of those, but it's still a classic ultralight. And because they don't require a lot of energy, some of them are suitable for electric power as well, which is very nice over two-stroke, especially when you're flying low, because it's such a reliable to have electric motor. But we've done something that raises the bar not just a little bit on your 80s ultralight, but a lot. We're doing something with an all-aluminum aircraft, cantilevered wing, with a cockpit with 5 windows and a door and a windshield and a liquid-cooled two-stroke engine with dual spark and a clutch on the propeller, a carbon blade, 3-blade adjustable propeller. And in the cockpit it has an EFIS, and cabin heat and defroster are available. Electric trims included, hydraulic brakes, Tundra tires, baggage space, and room. And it's just almost very few of those features are available on ultralights, and there's nothing like this that has even close to all those. Well, the key numbers are the 26 knot stall speed, so it has to fly slow. And we've done that with a very nice, beautiful wing, just an absolutely gorgeous wing with a very large slotted flap. And it's a 5-position flap, and the flap itself is as long as the Merlin wing. So that gets our stall speed down. And then when we retract that flap, we have a clean wing, so we can still have and because it's a high aspect ratio wing, we can still get some really good L/D or glide ratio that qualifies it as a motor glider. It's not a really great motor glider, but great motor gliders cost $250,000. But it can be flown as a motor glider, which opens up the aircraft to be flown in that category with a glider license and an endorsement in their logbook. So the other number is a 55 knot maximum speed, which is 63 miles an hour. So we can go a little faster than that, about 70, but not much. So we just have the prop adjusted, so we meet that rule. It's quite simple. The other key rule is 5 gallons of fuel. That we have a wing tank that has 4.15 gallons, so that's under the limit. That's great. And we have our Polini 303 motor burns about 1 gallon an hour, so we can still have 4 hours, which is double or triple or even quadruple what the mission is. Because flying an ultralight, you're just getting up and flying for fun, flying around the patch, flying to local airports, evening sorties, morning sorties. If you want to go cross country, you get the Merlin. If you want to just enjoy flying again, because you may not be able to fly a Merlin if you've lost your medical, then you don't qualify for the private license or the light sport, then you have a very nice option to get back in the air in a normal style airplane with the Merlin Light. Almost all the Merlins and the Merlin Lights are burning auto fuel because it's less expensive. Both aircraft are extremely affordable as far as what you get. The value is incredible. The quick build kit on the Merlin starts at $18,500, and then you add $10,000 for the engine, the propeller, and all the cowl and accessories. And then it kind of depends on your painting and your panel, because you can get by with a $2,000 panel or have a full glass with ADS-B in and out and strobe lights and whatnot, and that adds another 10. So you can have an entry-level Merlin with a nice 4-stroke engine for under $40,000, or you can get the Gucci version with temper foam seats and nice paint job and glass panel and ADS-B in and out with moving maps for about $52,000, including the build program. So you're really only going to build it in our build shop in under a week, and get it licensed and ready to go. So the value is incredible. The Merlin Lite starts at $31,000 plus some delivery, and then it's only $1,000 EFS we have. It's really nice EFS. It upgraded that, and you can put an iPad in for your navigation, and there's not much more you would put in that because you can't fly in controlled airspace. You wouldn't really need it. There's no point at all for a transponder. So you save a lot of money there. And if you could add a parachute to either airplane for about $5,000 or a little less on the Merlin Lite, and you can have that painted as well. It comes in tricycle version, and there's because it's got that high aspect ratio wing and it's an efficient, clean airframe, it's very suitable to have electric power. So the serial number 2, which we're starting this week in production, will have electric power on it. So we're going to be offering that, which I think is going to be very attractive to a lot of people that are not too keen on 2-strokes and mixing the oil, and flying lower with a nice quiet motor. We have a ton of information on our website, which is aeromarine-lsa.com, and links to the YouTube channel where you can see all these flying. So that's absolutely the best place. And there's other danjohnson.com and your channel, of course, and ultralight flying. There's other places to see videos as well.